were saying about tomorrow. About tomorrow, I guess we'll be able to stay here now. The would you be able to get out to what's the name of that place? Okay, so y'all gonna go together or let him? You had a car. Oh, okay. Then no. Do you have somebody to go with you? Because if not, then you could set up here and then go out there with him. Now the way he said it is, we'll have boxes. If you need any more boxes, I have some at the house. There's one down there, but 2 boxes is enough. The flyer, and he'll make a little announcement, and the flyer explains basically what we're doing, and he'll say whatever he wanted to, whatever he wants to say. It's up to him. He sounded all right, like. So that means. So basically, tonight we just wanted to go over 1 or 2 things, inshallah. When the subject always comes out about what, when, where, how, and who, and we relate that to what we're doing, and we relate to where we are right now, what are we doing? Well, when you look at, let's say, modern and past history, they had certain slave revolts. What was the brother that in 1838, that time? Nat Turner. He didn't have a bad idea. Then they had Denmark Vesey. Those people of that era and that period, he was a free man, had won his slavery. And then his wife was still a slave. He was working to get her free. But a lot of them got captured, down there, and they were technically hung. Now, that's the picture that they have of people that try to rebel here. Paul Robeson was a good man. I mean, he really stood up good. They branded him a communist, and but if you listen to his song, the one at Old Man River, at the beginning he's talking about tired of living and afraid of dying. At the end, he's talking about we keep on fighting and we got to be living and all that stuff. He changed it. But in the 60s, he had a short period where he was in, not insane asylum, but they weakened him a lot. Then all of the knowledge that he had gained when they had the rebellion of the 60s, which he died in 76. During the 60s, we didn't hear nothing about Paul Robeson. They just jumped over him without getting any benefit from all the struggles he had. They didn't go for consultation. They didn't go, they got rid of King. They got rid of Malcolm real early, 65. They got rid of him. Then, when they got rid of King, technically, the people they had, Huey and all of them, it was mostly just talk. They didn't have time to get. That's why we're always dealing with longevity. See, because longevity, for us, longevity don't mean we want to live a long time, but it just so happens we have. And that longevity, that ability to absorb the movement, that ability to harness the energy of the movement, that ability to even manage the energy of the movement and direct it. So much so that we sound like we come from outer space when we talk about that we have grabbed the system and dominated the system. They said, but you dominated, it's still there. It's still there, yeah. But look at if you go back 40 something years ago, just say 43 years ago, if we opened the Masjid technically in 1980 in Oakland, go back to 1980. In 1980, the United States had lost Vietnam, but they were still, that was the end. In fact, 1980 was the end of the great power of the United States. Vietnam crept in. The people, they had broken the spirit of all of their people. So they had a hedge for inflation. They had, so much inflation that it was, they had the inflation then that they have now. Right? Remember that inflation then? That was serious inflation. They got it back right now. Can you imagine in 1 year, I just bought some, a Giant around there. Sometime I cook with, they would have some quality food. This margarine. So instead of cooking with water or butter, you put the butter in later, but when you actually cooking it, you used a good, we use those expensive margarines to cook it in. Actually give it a better flavor than butter. And butter burns real quick. You know what I mean? Like if you put butter on toast and put it in the oven, it blackens it right away. Okay. If you put it in a skillet, it burns. But anyway, the point is this. Last year, it was $1 even. Actually, it was 99 cents. Those things of margarine. A Giant, so you cook good with it. I just bought another package a few minutes ago. It was either $1.72 or $1.92. Yeah. Okay, the point is this. Look what they've done. I just use that as other things haven't exploded that much, but they have more inflation. You could see it happening. You could see it happening. Okay, now here we are in the United States of America. I want to go over a few things that technically we have done already, that we have already done. It's not bragging, but our people like Robeson, Malcolm X, they killed him right away. King, they killed him right away. Medgar Evers, they killed him right away. All those people, they got rid of them very quickly. They didn't have time. In King's last lecture, he said longevity has its place. But I've been to the mountaintop and I've seen the promised land. Well, he might have had illusions. But anyway, he's a nice guy. He's a nice man. He had good intentions. But you remember when he went to Chicago that last go around in 68? What he said? He said, he thought white folks in the South was mean. But they was throwing stuff at him and they was from right there in Cicero, one of them towns, right near Chicago. Might as well call it Chicago. Those are the meanest Euros he had ever run across. They had Bull Connor and all of them beat. I mean, he was wondering, he was almost paralyzed. Then when you mix that with his Vietnam approach and the Negroes backing up on him, and because he didn't win against Boss Man been good to us. That's what they're saying about old Lyndon, Landslide Lyndon. Y'all know how he call him? They call him Landslide Lyndon. The election in 1955, it was in Texas, where he stole the election so bad that's the joke, landslide Lyndon. But anyway, about us and our contribution, look, we're here in 2022. We're here in 2022. And we arrived on the Islamic scene openly 42 years ago in Oakland and here later on. And we've been up against the heaviest batter in town. At that time, it was the United States government. We've been up against the Zionists, and we've been up against their stooge, Saudi Arabia. So when you look at them, out of the Muslims, they, Qadim al-Haramain, they control or manage the minds of most of the Muslims. Even when they know they're doing wrong, they don't challenge them too much. They just don't, because they're the sacred Saudis. Technically, they can do anything they want, and they'll be all right. The Zionists can do anything they want. The UN stuff that they do, nobody else could buffalo and subvert or occupy people, right, in their own land, and it's okay. That's against the UN Charter. It's against everything they do. But the other thing, too, is nobody has faced those people down. Face to face, let's call it man to man, mano a mano, eye to eye, out of all that period that we've been doing this, and they're fine. So technically, you got to think of it like it is. We have technically stared them down. Number one, the United States government. But over and above the United States government for the last decades, it's been the Zionist state of Israel. And we're the only people in the world that have called them out. Hey, come on out of there, right? Daniel Pipes, what's all them guys' name? Steve Emerson and Abe Foxman. That's the dynamic trio, not the deadly trio. Boy, that's a deadly bunch. But we called them out by name. And we've called them out on TV and everything. You know, when we called them out on TV, the Muslims there, it was Mighty Brave, Magbag Amrika out there. I don't know if you saw that on TV. Hey, man, they was mad at me. I don't know if you could see. They was mad. Yeah. They was mad. You calling, and they was looking at me like, you don't know how to deal with these people. And the stuff is on camera, And see, the world, some of the people got a short memory, but it ain't us. And everything, a lot of stuff we talk about is on camera. So Magbag Amrika thought that was a wrong approach. Marty Bray thought it was the wrong approach, and I thought it was the right approach. It was wonderful that we called him out. Hey, you can meet you in Philadelphia. You can meet us on campus any day you choose. Yeah, you talking all that stuff, and he had to back down. He backed down because they know who to mess with. Now, you got to remember now, we're talking about the Zionists. Why do they treat us like they treat us? Why do they pretend like, I don't know if you ever saw it, but it was a program Channel 2 or something from Atlanta. I don't know if you even heard about it. But they was here and they they put it on Channel 2 down there. Okay. You could probably find it as Channel 2. And the guy told me he was here. We would have some of these old flyers around. And he would say, oh, I said, yeah, that's. He said, so you believe that any publicity is good publicity? We said, it doesn't make no difference. You know, in other words, we don't care whether you call it good publicity or bad publicity. But they did that program, and it was about Imam Jamil. And they have a rating system, and the highest is 5. He said, you know, they had it put it on twice. No, they put 2. They broke up their interviews here into 2 programs. The first one, everybody else, NBC, all of them, they'd have 1.5, 1.7 or something. And ours was 3 point something row. And so the guy called me. He said, man, the people jumped on that. That's the highest rating we have had. Then the next day he called when they did the second segment was 4.5 or almost somewhere close to 5. And so he said, it was Channel 2. That's what it was. It was Channel 2 down there. He said, the boss said, you got the director, he said, you got an open thing when you come down here. Because the guy said, he said, Musa. That's on the first one. Then the next day he said, man, the man said Musa, you know. And so the people in Atlanta, all the tattletales and they was against it. No, his community, which is tattletales, they were against it. They were either against it or silent, which means they was against it. Because I called, I said, man, what y'all think? They was mad that because if I was successful, it highlighted their inactivity and their silence. But anyway, let me try to speed up. I don't want to keep y'all too long tonight. What, when, where, how, and what have you. The first thing I'd like to mention is psychodiscombobulating Musa. That's me. Okay, I'm not bragging, I'm just saying. Psychodiscombobulating, that if you boxing, they just beat up your body and discombobulate that. Or they have a psychological thing that works on you so bad that it discombobulates your thinking, and that discombobulates your body because it ain't okay. Remember some of our heroes, Jack Johnson, Muhammad Ali. Both of them were skilled in what they was doing. Both of them used more psychology than they did physiology. Although you was going to get a good whooping, so you might as well stay out of there. And Jack Johnson was so good, he'd drag you along because those days it wasn't 10 rounds or 15 rounds. He'd be whooping on you up into and he wouldn't let you fall. He'd grab you and dance you around the thing. And how you feel there, Mr. Jeff? Talking about Jeff. He would whip the courage or the anger. He'd whip the hatred out of them. When he finished with them, it would be really all over. They wouldn't have no more like get up and go. He would whip it, because see, they might have a fight. In those days, fights would be the same 3 minute or 45 rounds, or I don't know what the longest rounds was, but they just fought till they got, now people, they keep cutting it down 15 rounds. Now I heard it's down to 12 rounds or something. Is it down to 12? They may go down to 10 rounders. Hey, man, I don't know.
There's this guy that's been coming on my feed named Stan Langford.
Sam Langford. Yeah, Sam Langford, yeah.
Well, only reason I brought it up because to your point, when he wanted to fight Jack Johnson, Jack Johnson basically told him they don't want to see two black people fight. And so I think about just the point of we shouldn't be fighting each other anyway.
Right.
He's psychologically, if he whooping white folks, that's the point.
Yeah.
But,
Hey. No, Sam Langford was good. Sam Langford, he lasted way up into the 20s. He fought those later on so-called champions. But anyway, Sam Langford was good. But Sam Langford wasn't no Jack Johnson. He wasn't no Jack. There was no sense in fighting him. But he was right on. Look, if you could turn the heat off just for 1 second. Look, we done whipped the stew out of Boss Man. I mean, we have whipped him so bad, so much discombobulation. He go to the wrong round. You know, when they get whooped so bad, you go to the wrong corner. Boss Man do that all the time. Okay, we have psychologically battered. We have battered Boss Man. And we battered the Zionists too. But this time, we really going to batter him. The battering this time is, as it said in one of the things, we're going to give you a public butt whooping. Technically, we're saying we're going to give you a public nigger whooping. You won't be able to deny. You know what I mean? Okay. Everybody knows what's going on. All the Masjid around here know who we are. It ain't no like we don't know who they exist. Okay. A lot of them, the people are basically in our corner. The masses. Some kind of way, like when y'all would go out there to MCC, you could tell they wanted to hook us up. And you could also tell that somebody done told them, don't go give it to, and the biggest mistake they can make is to hint like they don't have the right to be out there and they shouldn't be getting our money. Well, we're going to make several flyers before then explaining to the people about who we are, what we're doing. And this is a time when everybody has seen what has happened, but the government had the power to run everybody away, to, affect our income and all of that. And we have to explain to them what we let happen. It's just like design fitna. Everything happening right this minute, we have designed. We have designed or hinted toward it or engineered it, and we'll explain a little bit of it. But when you think about it, you'll be able to see very clearly that we've been in charge of what's happening to us. We respond to what we want, not what they want. Okay? Half of them think that we got these niggas just where we want. We got them cut off. We got them isolated. We got them moneyless. We got them with big bills coming up and no income from nothing. No income. None. Right? From no property, from no donations, nothing. Okay. That's where we've engineered them. Anybody else would think, oh, you got to run and save yourself. You got to fight and make sure you get yourself some money. Well, no. That's what we're saying to everybody. Here we are. We have no income. We have all of this property, no income here. We've arranged for them to steal our property out there. We have no income coming that way. Somebody out there said that was some little paper that it had that said I was stealing from them. But everybody here know that they had a $50,000 debt on property out there on taxes, and we paid it. Well, $48,950, right? We paid it, right? And it was on our paperwork that says we want to pay this by certain date. And you see the date, and you see we paid it. They would leave our property with junk on it. And they popped up with a bill, and they would get the bill, and they would hold the bill, and then it doubles, right? And then doubles. And they had on our property old cabs and everything parked on our property. That all the guys driving cabs, they'd park them over there and leave them. They had our property full of literally junk. We cleaned out several truckloads, dumpster loads of our property. One time we cleaned out 3 of them big dumpsters loads and had it, and the guy from Brazil, they took it off and cleaned up everything. When I got back out there, somebody had went into our other property, gathered up all that stuff and brought it over and dumped it back on the thing. It's no problem. It's no problem. If we don't say all the stuff that's happening because it would be really like people wouldn't be able, but this stuff be going on, it'd be serious. Now anyway, we're not going to talk about all the things that happen. Because see, now we're right in the middle of a counteroffensive. That's what we're doing. We're going to counteroffensive they behind and whip their behind. And we're letting everybody know we're starting from flat broke. We don't have nothing. We got right now $1,500 worth of bills. That's not the $8,000, $9,000 going to be for taxes in a couple of days. And we don't have but $500. But we're letting everybody know that's where we're at now. Okay, other people would cry about that. We're not crying about that. Why? Because on our paperwork it said, be prepared to sleep under a bridge. So we're going to allow and direct this stuff to happen, right, to a certain stage, but we're prepared that if we don't have nothing, we're going to make a comeback. But it didn't go to where we have to sleep under a bridge, right? We got all our property. We're making a comeback from a very nice place. Nobody else would want to be there. But for us, for what we plan of possibilities, of expectations of possibilities, we said we prepared to sleep under a bridge. So we're sleeping in a comfortable place. It's so nice just to, roll out the foam on there. You get older, you can't just sleep on the ground. So you just roll out over at the house. We got a little stand, a little platform, to hold the bed, and over here we just roll out the little foam pad. After you get up in your 70s, there's no sense sleeping on this right here. You won't just, it'll take you an hour to get up in the morning. You know what I mean? It's just like when you're younger, you can do it. But after you get to be senior citizen, I mean,
You repeat that because out of hearing it, I don't think and seeing it, I don't think people really understand the fact that, and I know since I've known you, that you've been sleeping on the floor.
that's the only place to sleep. Now, every now and then we'd go to a program, and they had, them big hotels, and they had big soft beds and all. So when I'd go there, not only I'd run off with all the towels, I wouldn't run off with all the towels. Nobody would do that. Them big fluffy towels and bathrobes, like I might have 10 of them. At least I used to. Anyway, but I have never, since I was in South America, I've been doing that way over 50 years. Here's how it happened. When I left the country, I had the regular habits, and I had all this rich stuff, and everywhere I go, I had to pack it up and take it with me. And then I realized the weight of all of that stuff. And, so when I came back over here to get rolling, I came over here and I started in Mexico and then I went south. If I had a hotel, I just slept in the regular bed. But when I got my spot, I slept on the floor. All the last 50 years in Oakland, I slept on the floor because I want to. Now nobody and no family would have put up with what we put up here. One of the reasons we were able to do so much, we had a light overhead and we sold books. You know what I mean? We'd be up and down. We did nothing but hustling. If there's an organization around here that had some books, and we may be visiting AMC, and Esau might be down there. You remember Esau? Was Imam Jamil's community, the European brother? Yeah. Okay, they were all down there. So I would look in the car and say, man, y'all got all them Qurans. Them some nice boys. The one standard, green, Yusuf Ali, $10 or $15 each. So as a custom, hey man, let me get a few of them boxes. Y'all send them y'all do this. Let me have several boxes. If they had something that people was hot that they was trying to get rid of, those big, is it called Encyclopedia of Islam? By what's his name, the Palestinian brother? I think it was his name. They cost over $100. At Halalco, they sold them for $100. And shoot, man, I got a truckload of them boys for something that wasn't much. I started off at $7 was expensive. Then I got it down to $5, So we'd be at a big program, all them ISNA programs, and they had the price. They were selling them for $100. I said, shoot, y'all can get them for $50. I would go right over and stand in front of their thing and said, you go over there and you get that for $50. And then before we leave, you know how you don't want to take all that stuff back. So I'd cut it down to $40. I mean, but anyway, what was the question about? About sleeping on the floor, the ability, yeah, okay. So automatically over on A Street, we slept upstairs. Or, you know, the first thing I got when I got married, that same day I went out and bought a mattress because I wasn't going to have my wife sleeping on the floor. Might as well, you know. But I bought a mattress. That was it. And if you remember way back, it wasn't hardly nothing in there, you know. And then when we moved the masjid over here, uh, we said we need an income. So we said, Ahmed and them, y'all can move over here. Ahmed and them lived over there. Then we moved over in that, it's 11 by 18, right back there in the office. You remember when we used to live? We used to live in the office. Okay. So the kids didn't mind, and, you know, I definitely didn't mind. But we were doing all of that so that we could build community. Then when we bought that property over there, we moved downstairs. Jalil and them lived upstairs, right? We lived downstairs, and we'd made a mistake of putting carpet down there, and it would rain and get soaking wet. It was, you know, they put up with it, but it was, for them, it was miserable. And for me, it kept me busy because I had to keep, you know what I mean, cleaning it up. But uh, all the stuff happened to the house down there. Everything that happens upstairs come downstairs. That's why I stay always downstairs. I don't care what it is, if it's water, if it's this, that, and other. And all basements are like that. And, you know, that's the only reason I have the platform up off the ground a little bit. Or all your stuff would get wet every now and then. Okay, so, but like right over there right now, I really like that. And if they mess with it, I'll just go back here, or I'll take me a rubber thing and I could stay here. I could go over A Street. If they put some smelling stuff, you know, down at the house, the boss man, he's mean. I don't. He'll have you, if you lay your head on a pillow, he'll put something smelling sauce on there to give you a headache. And if you read Maulana, I got 3 Maulana Muhammad Alis. And I was reading one during Ramadan. And when I would open it up, the smell hit you, give you a headache, and then it kind of spoils you for the next few. So I just, okay. Then I would go get the other one, open it up, fresh as a daisy. I'm saying is that all of this stuff that happens has been good, healthy training for me. Just sleeping on the floor is wonderful. I mean, you know, especially now, you know, you go down there to what's the name, and they got that foam now that's about this thick, you know, foam, huh? Memory foam, or they got it's not that real thick, it's the cheap foam, the same size as a bed. Yeah, you just roll it out on the floor. Not Home Depot, they got it right down there at, what did I just say? The place used to be like Kmart. Target, yeah, that's right, Target. Yeah, they got all that, where they got the bedding. They got that for twin beds. It's for the, so they're only $15. So if you get 2 of them and put them on each other, you'll be really home free. One of them will take care of you, you know. And now I got 2. So I mean, you're talking about luxury. Good God Almighty. I mean, I mean, I'm just laid all out. Okay, but see, the other thing is attitude. If you're on the floor, you can't fall any further. You're at the bottom. When you're on the floor, it's nowhere but up. You know, it has a lot to do with your psychological. Can't nobody do that. Can't nobody send you any lower than you already are. And so everything is up. You know, the point is that psychodiscombobulating Musa. As-Sabiqun strikes back. Discombobulate, confuse, upset, confuse, mix up, entangle, muddle, like somebody muddling along. Look at U.S. policy. In the Middle East, in the world, they're muddling along. Muddling along. I mean, they have allies. And they say, well, you was going for Australia, you was going to buy that from French. You just get it from us. It was going to take you 15 years to get it, but don't you worry. They're muddling along. And the French get mad and say, man, we ain't got hardly no income. You're robbing everybody in the world, and we got one contract, and here you come and snatch that. What do you think they think about Boss Man? They're muddling along. It's incoherent. You know what I mean? Their policy is incoherent. They want to run out of Afghanistan after 20 years and haven't did nothing. And then put an embargo on the people, and this winter time coming, and they're getting a few dollars now from the UN or something. But these people, the world is looking at that like these people is brutal, man. I mean, they are unbelievable, you know. Therefore, in their policy is one of discombobulation. We say the vibrating hand. We say we hit Boss Man with the vibrating hand. I know it's a myth. You know about Bruce Lee and them and the vibrating hand, that they hit him with the vibrating hand. And you go walk up down the street, do what you're doing, and 6 months later you collapse. It's a myth. But we use myths as policy sometimes. We hit Boss Man with the Negro stealth vibrating hand. Yeah, that's what it is. That he's discombobulated, right? Now you got to remember, we said we said clearly 4 or 5 years ago, and during that period, we're claiming these victories that are coming up. I said, we're going to claim them. That's what we're doing now. Everybody think the U.S. just collapsed and fell apart? No. California fell apart because you was messing with us. You wanted it? Keep it. Yeah, you so bad? Right out there in California, where did he get hit first and the heaviest where he can't do nothing about it? California. Because that's where we come from. And you want to take our stuff? You want to do this to us, Boss Man? Fine. You haven't seen, we even made no attempt to go out there for 2 years. And when we came out here to do something, was going to go right back. Zoop. A freeze was put on that. That stuff happened to Soleimani, on the 3rd of a couple of years, 3rd of January. We was going to go back on the 6th. We had a court date for the 6th. So we was going to go back the 3rd or the 4th. And that happened. So no, we're staying here. Why? Because we had forecast. Remember before, something has happened with the Shias. They don't know what's happening, and Boss Man don't know. Right? And everybody cruising along. And bam, they did that, and millions of people out. Iraq and Iran was having a little friction. They sealed them together, and they made a new martyr for this period. And Iran and Shias thrive on martyrdom. And these dummies, they got to be the dumbest thing in the world. They produce for them. You ever see Press TV lately? From time to time, Soleimani. Right now, right? Hour-long programs, that program. You should take an Imam Hussein's place for a while. Yeah, Soleimani. Right? I'm telling you, boss man is stupid. We tried to give him some credit, but he's so stupid that it's his time to go, and he's fulfilling his historical. That's what you do. Rome did the same thing. Egypt did. Everybody that was big, when it's their time to go, half of the stuff, they flatten their own tires. They drive off their own cliff. Oh, there's the cliff I was supposed to drive off of. And they turn toward that cliff and mash on the gas and be rolling, be rocking, and go off the cliff. And you look and I look and the world said, why did they do that? It was their time. It was their time, and they will do what, think about it, historically. Every society had its period, right? The Quran is clear. This is that period for them to go. All those big monsters, colonial masters, they headed out the door. The East is coming, you know. They come in and take a name, and it don't make no difference. Whatever happens, they cause all that trouble in our areas, and all the people from our areas move to Europe. It just so happened Europe they feel we got to have more population, especially places like Germany. So they're glad they're coming in. But those people coming now will be just like their children and grandchildren. Now remember, they're having 50,000 children, and the white folks is having one or two. In Europe, EU mean caves, hillside, and rope is the rope to bind in. Right? I'm telling you, look. Just look at the world. So what'll be happening in 50 years? Europe won't be Europe, white folks. It won't be that. It'll be mixed. It's already happening in Italy. It's already happening in, of all places, Germany. Well, they already had the Turks, but if you look at Turks, you wouldn't know much difference from them than the German. But everybody else is loading in. Poor England? Shh. Okay, now, all of those places, the people are waking up. But it's the other generation in Europe is waking up, the past generations from our period. But they send in a new generation. When they come in, they'll be happy to be there, like the ones over here. From before, happy to be here. You can't get them to move. You can't get them to say nothing. But their children will grow up there. Like the children in the universities now, they're Americans. All their schooling was Declaration of Independence, this, that, and another. They feel, you can't do that to us. Their parents wasn't really raised here, or their children. The point is, the kids now in the universities, Muslims and everybody else, they have the American spirit, the American psychic, right? That means that you can't do that to us while we're citizens, right? We're citizens. Their parents never feel like they're really, because they could be sent back home, and some that were just young kids when they're older now. But the ones that are born and raised here in the colleges now, they strictly from here because of the embargoes they had on Muslims coming in. They can't do it for a while. And who has the most children? We do. Who has the less children? They do. Right? How are all the demographics going? In America, our dear Latino brothers, we say, Alhamdulillah, Bafarma. It's yours. We want to be here with you, so, we are going to seek your permission because they stole most of the country from them, right? Of course, they stole it from the Indians, but we're saying, like they say, we didn't cross the border crossed us. In 2000, they said it was 39 million Negroes and 39 million Latinos. And the last go round, that was 2000. This go round, I think they done went so far out in front. It's like, because if you went anywhere, even around here, when I came here, this area, especially the southeast, it was babies having babies, 12-year-old girls having babies. You see any babies around lately in the black community? I don't know what they put in the food or what it was, right? But they're not running around. The teen pregnancy was so bad when I got here that it was just, and it was kids everywhere. They would run over you, steal your stuff. They're just everywhere. Little black children. Nowadays, that's not happening. But let's get back to the thing. Remember, there's a parent and there are hidden things happening to systems, societies, and people. Like there are hidden things in our life that affect us. The more we know about them, the more we can direct our lives. There are hidden things happening and they pop up and the system is not prepared to deal with it. This is all happening with America right now. Everything that's happening with America, they're not prepared. They don't have a handle on, may I say it, nothing. The forest fires, they should just empty the prisons out and have everybody out planting trees. Why? Because the roots are going to hold water. So what little water you do get, the roots is going to hold it. If it don't, it's going to run off. Now, they just put more carbon in the air. The trees, they let more carbon because the trees hold all the carbon, right? And California burns down every year. So they exaggerate or exacerbate, whatever the word is, their own problems. And if it was grass covering the ground, if it was they plant stuff now, big super planting, and if they had any sense, they would just plant over the grass and everything, modern stuff. And that way, none of the stuff would run off. Why? Now they got to use a zillion things of water. If they when they plow, when you plow up a whole thing, the first one you see is you see moist soil, right? When you plow it up. In a few days, it's dry. When you plow it up, new farming says don't plow up nothing. Shoot, leave all the stuff on top of the ground and you keep the water. The water is a sponge. The grass is a sponge. It holds the water. You let all the grass go and all the dirt, everything erosion, they call it, I know it. It runs off. So anything they do, they add to their own problems. And they're doing it now like Bolsonaro, whatever his name was down in Brazil. What's the name? I like Donald Trump. He says, F the planet, F this and F that, right? He just said, whatever you're going to do, burn it down, let it go. And they call Brazil the lungs of the world, the lungs. Okay. Uh, we're not going to put up with that because our children have to live on this planet too. And we're going after the polluters, the murderers, and we're going to make the world a better place. It's our job. Yeah. We're not going to let them bums just because they have the power. Well, we're going to do something about it. Just because they're discombobulated, well, they shouldn't have messed with us because we're going to help them be more psycho-discombobulated. They're going to have a policy of muddling through, like Afghanistan, and anything else they do. Do you ever listen to the news a little bit? Them people is crazy. They can't keep nothing focused. They call muddling, they're muddling through. They just tripping over this, tripping over that, saying this, saying that, and they're not going anywhere. They're muddling through. Okay. The status that they held in the world, that's gone. That's gone. Boss man is gone, and boss man has strictly downed everybody around him. All his allies, he tricked the dumb British to get out of the union that they had. Shoot, the common union that Britain used to be the main one pushing that 50, 60, long time ago. Okay, now they out. And ain't no truck drivers, you see what's happening in Europe? They just, that's when you create your own problem, right? Nobody did that to them. They created their own problem. Brexit, we want to be Brexit. We don't want to be like you guys anymore. The U.S. told them to do that. Dummies. You just break away from them. You be with us, man. We English speaking. They speak Dutch and all kind of stuff. Me and you all the way. And them dummies went for it. Some of them did. It's the dumbest thing as you can get. And then you got to pay all the penalties for break, because they wrote in there, if you break away, you got to pay $1 zillion worth of penalties. And now since you're gone, you don't have access to all the trucks, so they don't have nothing. They about to starve to death in Britain today. You ever listen to the news? They don't have nothing. They don't have margarine, butter. They don't have nothing. It's self-created. Boss man, self-created. The problems he have, self-created. Well, we're going to fix this and give away all of this money. Yeah, you gave away all the money 2 years ago, last year, and now you got a zillion. It's all written down. If you do this, you're going to have super duper inflation. Well, inflation tricked them this time because they thought we just going to, have a little bit of inflation. This is the highest inflation they had since when inflation was big, when they was selling what they call a hedge. Y'all probably wouldn't remember that. A hedge against inflation. They used to sell a little hedge, They're like hedges. And it was a hedge against inflation. It was a joke, but people was buying it. They'll buy anything as Americans. I'm telling you, if you look here, it's chaotic. It's chaos. It's worse than, I mean, we're living in, when they write about this period, it will be a period of chaos, not tranquility. There's been no tranquility, no period of peace. And everything they do is stupid. I didn't mean to get on this, but they tell Germany, now Germany, we know it gets cold. Y'all get a little cold. But you're getting all of that gas from, Russia. And we ain't got none to give you, but we would like for you to cut that out. So would you just freeze to death this winter? Right? What happens? The price is going through the sky. We don't want you guys to buy any oil from Iran. Do you think Iran, what's the oil prices now? Oil prices, let's go across the board. It's about $90 a barrel, right? $90. The highest oil that I can remember, it was 110. Was it $110 a barrel? Another $20, they'll be up there. Now, when oil is that high, have you heard Iran crying about oil? We don't have no money. Why was that? Because if oil is $90 a barrel and we'll sell it to you, we're going to give you a deal. I mean, cash on the barrel head, man, we giving y'all this oil for $75 a barrel. They could do it for, the oil minister told me if they just take $5 off. But oil is so high. Why is it so high? Because they don't want nobody to buy Iranian oil. If they put their 3 million barrels on the market, it would bring it down, right? You're talking about a bad manager and a greedy bum. Suppose you have a family. Supposing like all of us right here, we have families. And we have all the nice food on the table, and all of us, we gonna eat first and eat the most. We gonna be so fat, we gonna be eating. And the children gonna be there with their mouths hanging out and everything, right? That's boss man. In the world today, think about it. And saying he ain't, it's not hidden anymore like sophistication. It's just straight out. I don't want y'all to do that. Australia, oh man, you can't work with China. Well, we do sell all our beef to China, and they was even selling wine to China. And now they're sitting there holding all the economy in Australia is because China got enough sense to know, yeah, we're your neighbors right across the road, across the ocean, right across the water. But if you're mean to us, we're not going to buy, what do you have over there? All of that beef? Well, just keep it. If we keep it, the beef is going to get bigger, and we can't. No problem with me. It's like the thing that was happening last. What is this animals that, not turkeys or something, but they would slaughter them when they're a certain size, and if you keep them longer than that, they get bigger and bigger, and you can't. So if you hold it off a certain amount of time, the machinery and all that is not calibrated to handle them. So they get used to their regular routine. They got a routine up there. Everything dealing with Detroit. Now Detroit was hooked up with Canada, and they have the parts made in Canada. Now the damn highway you can't get. They already had a hold up for the last 2 years where a used car is more expensive than, right? You can't buy no new used car now, you'll be broke. A used car is more now than, okay, why is that? Because they can't We want to punish China. Therefore, right? And they punishing China all right, and the Americans is paying for all the punishment. And then right in the middle of that, they have something here in Canada. I don't know why, but the trucks can't come through with the little computer piece that they put in the cars in Detroit. Because Canada, they're right here, so they share this. You can't share it. Well, it's and then they had to schedule where, I was listening to the white folks today, but the schedule would be, so close together, like, okay, they call them or they punch it in the computer, they put it in the trucks, and it'd be like a day is a long time, but it'd be within hours most of the time because they don't want to store the stuff. So you'd roll up, the guys right there within an hour or two. It's right across, and that stuff is all. Look, when it starts falling apart, stuff that you don't think have nothing to do with nothing, it starts falling too. When the building start eroding, you don't know what the foundation is holding up. This part fall down, that part fall down, and it's all over. Okay, we're not like that. We've stood for right, we've stood for justice, and we're going to keep on doing it. And Boss Man is in a lot of trouble. We call it, well, we're not going to. Evolution back to revolution. Evolution is slow, and but we're in a stage where evolution is evolution is leading to revolution. In other words, it's speeded up because things have speeded up in the last couple of years. Really, it's been speeding up. But now that revolution goes back and remixes with evolution. So you have a blend of things on this end moving fast and on this end moving slow. One is part of the revolution and the other is part of the historical evolution, and they're not fitting. They're not fitting. That's why we take our time on this, because certain things we could do right away, we're not going to do them right away. No. Because it's not combining with our evolutionary process. So I just say that we're in better shape than everybody. Okay. To tell our story, excuse me for sidetracking, to tell our story and our destiny is here. The flyers will be the ones we come out with tomorrow, not tomorrow, but by the end of the week, by the beginning of next week, will be somewhat different. Because the story this is the time to tell our story and to tell what has already happened. See, we done already, all the stuff we talk about doing, all of this stuff, what we've been talking about for the last, let's just say, 10, 15, 20 years, that stuff has really happened. It really, every class we had, and we talked about it, say, last week, or no, not last week, say last year. Well, it happens almost right away. Everything we talked about 10 or 15 years ago has recycled many times already, right in front of our eyes. So we haven't missed anything. And everything we have done, not everything, but most of the things that we have done has been part of a designed plan. That wherever we are now, mostly we designed being here. They might play a part. They might be doing something and they think It's hurting us, but we designed being there. We chose where we are now. We selected where we are now. We have not responded to anything that happened there or there or there or even here because we wanted the environment to manipulate itself to be basically where it is now. And now we're not coming out of the closet. We've been out. Everything that we're doing, we've said this thing. Everything that's happening, we have already said it over and over again. The redundancy is it's unbelievable. Nothing new. When we started the air war over 15 years ago, air war, psychological war. And the other thing is, we have told them right in front of their face what we're going to do. And we've done it. And we drugged them in. There's nothing they can do about it. There's absolutely nothing. We have described the battle space that we're in right now. And I say, never turn your back on an enemy unless it's to help a group of your people over there, or unless it's a stratagem of war, right? That's what the Quran says. So this is the greatest, most comprehensive trap in U.S. history. Nobody else has trapped the U.S. like this. We have. Okay. Get ready for the historical stuff to kick in. Because, like people talk about coming out, we're going to explain, not just on the CDs and everything, but flyers. We're going to now explain to everybody what we have been doing and how we did it. And even little bit parts of why we did it. Because, first of all, Boss Man is even now in his not maximum, but in his heavily laden stupidity. He still does not see the end of the line for himself. There are thinkers predicting it. They said, Boss Man is it. But when you are big, I had a chance to be what they would call big, but I had a chance to do all this stuff on a personal level. And when it all hits you, you have to have a lot of courage to say, man, that's deep. What happens with most people, all the people that was big, what they call big around me, they couldn't revive. They couldn't adjust. It was simple. They got big. So they got big, and then they cut at their money, their income. Then they began to borrow. Either somebody cut at it or they cut at their own income. So now they're living big on borrowed money. But the Negro, no matter how big he can't borrow but so much money, right? But still, when he go, everything is gone. He don't save and put up. When I saw what the government was doing with me, and I'm still in my early 20s, I start saving money. Because at that time I knew, or it appeared to me, that the world is operating on money. It operates on money. When I went overseas, the brothers was in bad shape because they didn't have money. When you found stuff around the world, people was the way they were because, and in South America and other places in Africa, it's worse if you don't have money than it is here. If you don't have money there, you can call it a day. Forget it. It's getting like that here. Remember, we're in a different world than we were then. So this thing about money, what we learned was how to manage money. Even where we are now, we are where we are now because we are part of a design program to get us where we are. And that fool's boss man. Because he just do this, do that. But here we are telling the people, okay, no, we're coming out of that platform, that program. We're going to use everything we got to, like, how do I want to put it? Here, we're going to, we're going to get wealthy and powerful again before we use the money, the $300 million we're going to get in California and here for what they've done. They've already done that. We don't have to do, when we get ready, we'll go get that. But we're not going, they want us to do it now. We're not doing it now. First thing we're going to do is just like we're doing now. We say, no, we're going to show the world that it ain't about money this time. It's about ethics, and it's about morals. And we're going to get big, what they call big, from right now. We're going to do it ourselves. Yeah. So when we go back to California to get our money, we're going to be rich already here. And we're not leaving until we do get that. Yeah, but the whole world is right here in open arms waiting for us. Hey man, the people think we're in bad shape. We're in good shape. Everybody knows technically who we are. They technically know. Even the Negroes who's here, they know we ain't did nothing to them. We ain't did nothing to nobody else. However they left, their pockets and their jaws was puffed all up. They never left empty-handed, right? Nobody. No, they never left poor, empty-handed. Either their kid owed us $1 billion for being in school, or if it's Jalil, they owed us several months' rent, and you had to spend $1 zillion to patch up the shotgun holes and all that stuff, right? Nobody never, I mean, look, I'm telling you, nobody never lost anything materially for being around us. Like we were the cause of their downfall. We ain't got no money because of y'all, man. That's cold-blooded. Even in the midst of everybody hating us at the top period, we were able to manipulate the government, so the government was shooing us along. Oh, we're going to control them. Oh, Abdul Malik them is going to control this. Mukhtar them is going to control that. The people all around, the Sudanese, everybody, they're going to control all of this, that, and other, right? And we let them do it. We let the people, whether it's Baba Kloon, them sitting right next to them, we might say, man, they're going to take our property in California, and you repeat it over and over and over again. So they take it. And you done told them to tell them, take the property. That's what happened. That's what happens. All of that is too late. They've already done that. No matter whether they're hiding and pretending to be alive or dead or whatever, it doesn't make any difference. That stuff happened because that was planned. And you never know. People might just get tired and say, I can't pretend anymore. There's nothing like, anyway. Superior trap. and its execution. And we have it written right here. Bait, courage, one trap would do them in. Then we have all eyes shall see him. But it's like the Bible, came like a thief in the night. Everybody's been looking at us. You think anybody been missing us? Everybody been looking at us to make sure that they can't be close to where they at, so we can't be close to them. You can't come here. We don't want you here, so you got to know where you at. And all the young people, do not go around them, right? So all I see, ain't nobody more popular. I'm sorry, I don't care how popular they are. They're not more popular than us, especially by the leadership. So all eyes should see him. Everybody hasn't seen us. But we come like a thief in the night. That's the chief's teaching there. That's the chief's teaching. And the way the chief put it is, how is it that all eyes could see him, but he would come like a thief in the night? Everybody would be looking at him, but wouldn't know what they're looking at. And they wouldn't know anything is going on till their prized possessions is gone. Everything they was pushing for is gone. Their pride, their wealth, all of that is gone. Yeah, we have fun with this stuff. There's no sense sitting there mad with your jaws all tight. The white man is doing this, the niggas is helping. No, just like if I get a phone call, is scam likely? Hey, is this scam likely? You know the way the phone call? I don't tell them, y'all gotta stop calling here. I say, oh, is this scam likely? Scam likely? And then most of the time they don't answer. They stutter sometime. I don't tell them don't call here no more, but they get the idea. Oh, this is scam. Hey, man, what's going on, scam likely? Right? And it takes them 5 minutes for them to get their brain clear. Or we start speaking, because if you've been in Africa a long time, and then the people, if you do that around Africans, they'll look around because it sounds like something that don't mean nothing. We do it all the time, and my family used to, Dad, you don't do that. They're going to think you're crazy. I said, why do you think he looked around? Because it sounds like something in their language, but it's so far away, he don't know exactly what it was. You do all kinds, you got to look. If you be strict on yourself, if you be hard on yourself, and if you be regimented according to what white men say, you'll go crazy. You got to have fun. Think about it. It's your life. You're going to get another one? Well, where are you going to get it from? If you got another life coming after this? I don't think so. Tell the truth. This is it, right? So if this is miserable, you're going to have your greatest gift turned out to be miserable. Right? You think, I'm going to sit up here, this is my life, and I'm going to be miserable because somebody else is miserable? Okay, I'll try to explain it in another way. The people, let's say in Yemen, they're not responsible for the misery in their life. So we're not saying that they should be. We sympathize with them, and we hope for the best for them in anything we can do. But we're not going to, on the battlefield, when people are getting murdered all over the battlefield, sometimes you just have to walk through the battlefield, make a cross on everybody, and that's a good job, and keep going. Because the people are getting killed. The battlefield, that's what they do on the battlefield. In life, they ruin so many of our lives, black people's lives. Of course, everybody's lives. but especially black people. You can't sit there and commiserate. You can't do it. You want to, but your life would be ruined. You do and say what you can for a minute, and you got to keep on going. It's not because they wasn't helping or they wasn't, their life don't mean anything. It's because on the battlefield of life, sometimes you can't stop and pay homage. It's like that sometimes. It's like that, you know. Okay. Superior trap execution. Winter offensive. Why winter offensive? Winter offensive means that you're preparing. We're preparing right now. Everything we're preparing right now is for the spring and early summer. At the end of the Eid and everything, and at the end of Ramadan, we are preparing everything now. By the time that time comes, we will be been to everybody's place and everybody will be aware of us, right? And we will leave them flyers to instruct them that we'll have people out in front, you know, put your money and our boxes. Because the guys inside, if you give us one box of money, like at the Islamic Center, they got 100 boxes. You ever see them? Them white boxes, they still have white, and they're full of money. So the one box you give us, good. You know. So all of that we're preparing now. That's why instead of a spring offensive, it's a winter offensive. An evolutionary offensive. If you notice, things are evolving and getting tighter. Why? Because you do a program and it gets focused. You do a flyer and you get naturally focused. You just do it. If you do it so long, like this, you can tell this scribble is you're laying down at night and ideas come to you and you just roll over. You got your clipboard and you scribble them. It's not like this writing right here. It's like a scribble, big scribble. The lights is out. You just knowing how to, but you know what it means. That's the period we are in, and that's the period we've been in. Everything is getting more and more focused as we go along. Okay, let me speed up. Date, all eyes to see him. I didn't mean to take this long, but there's two concepts, tafweed and rida. Well, I know we talk about them all the time. But tafweed, wafada, is when you put all your trust and reliance on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not on your own intellect and how sharp you are and everything. And that's what we do. We ask Allah that for the little pinprick of knowledge you gave us to help us use that to fit into your plan. And rida, whatever Allah send us, like some of the things that happen to us as a community is not that funny, right? In fact, most of it is not funny to y'all at all, but I mean, it's funny to me because I've been doing it a long time. But it's actually like hilarious. I mean, I don't want to act it out because it's that brother. I knew it was going to get to him sooner or later. You know what I mean? I mean, it would look like I was crazy to feel that way about the things that are going on. But if you know boss man, you know the environment, you encourage him to do those things. When he look around, he's the one way out on a limb, weighing 300 pounds and out on that limb. And he can't turn around and get back because he's going to shake the thing. And he got to stay there till it crash, which is going to come off because he's too big to be out that far. Right? That's the way he is on everything. everything with everybody. He's out on a limb. With his white friends in Europe, he's out on a limb. We want to get out of Russia. Please keep your stuff at home. We're tired. Boss man, we don't want to hear no more of that stuff. And you'd already showed us how you feel about us, that you think we're servants too. We serve you. You know, you're not going to share nothing with us. You want us to boycott the people and pay $1 billion in oil prices. You got your own oil at your house. You know, there's a few more gallons left there. But you want us to pay, just think in Europe, I think gas is probably double the price. It used to look like that, you know, like gas prices. If gas is $3 a gallon here, it costs $5 or $6 a gallon. Well, they have it by liter, but still, when you add it up, that's what it calls. It's double the price in Europe. Guess what? That's why Europe always had efficient. They never had gas guzzlers. Nobody had gas guzzlers except who? Boss man. Boss man, you won't believe it. When we used to buy all them big cars, they had a 472 cubic inches before 1970. After 1970, they were 500 cubic inches with a 4-barrel carburetor. Do you remember what the 4-barrel carburetors look like? Y'all remember carburetors? Carburetor. Yeah, carburetor. And usually a carburetor, you would see one little jet in there, right? That's a 1-barrel carburetor. Suppose you got 4 of those jets in there. 4. All the Oldsmobiles, Cadillacs, all of them had 4-barrel carburetors. Suppose you were just a hitty-gitty type guy and you put 2 4s on your car. 2 4s, that's 2 4-barrel carburetors. Or 3 deuces, 3 2-barrel carburetors. If you drove fast. You know how much? The cars I drove got 9 miles in the city and 11 miles a gallon on the highway. Oh, that's what the white folks said. It probably was less. But gas was 30 cents a gallon, I mean, you know, at that time. Whew. You know what I mean? And like everybody, do you know who broke the auto industry in America? I don't want to get onto this, but we're already on it, so we might as well talk a little bit about it. Everybody in the world, after the war, America economy, you know, cars. So you would see American cars around the world, a lot of places. But American cars are big cars. If you notice, everybody else makes small cars, especially in those days. Even now, Americans have got smaller cars now. But in the old days, have you ever seen a Camaro, a Chevy that girls used to drive? They're big as a boat. The girls' cars in America was GTOs and all that. My wife came home with a Mustang, not a Mustang, a Kruger, 1971 Kruger. It was a 351. She wanted a little lady's car. Me and my homeboys looked at that car, XR7. I said, do you know what you bought? This was one of the biggest engines in the world. And she had, it was a little car, but this boy was built for, you know, where the cars used to run like, I said, I used to drive it all the time because that boy was zoop. Had plenty of juice. America, after the war, the big war a long time ago, everybody else built cars that was fuel efficient. The way America lost their auto industry is they did it to themselves, suicide. Just like now. How? It was very simple. Everybody else built cars to last. Toyota and all of them, they built cars to last. In America, they built cars to last 2 years. They built junk. What do they call it when they want you to get new stuff all the time? Planned obsolescence. That's what it is. They plan it, you know. And at first it worked. Everybody had to go get, we bought Cadillacs every 2 years. Because every 2 years they would change a little bit how it looked. But the 67 Cadillac looked exactly like the 68 Cadillac, except they had a little light on the back. The 65 Cadillac looked exactly like the 66. That's a beautiful car. Exactly. The 63 and the 64 looked very close, right? But even in those days, they were still making them kind of good. But in recent years, they started making them where you could hit that Cadillac and knock a hole in it, right? You hear the 49 Cadillac, because I had a 49 Cadillac, you know, where you have old stuff just to be having around. That thing was so heavy, and if you hit the fender, you would break your hand, all kind of stuff like that. They were just well built, big. Planned obsolescence. Planned obsolescence is what ruined the U.S. car auto industry. They shot themselves in the head. They got everybody else. They started buying a few people. First Toyota I saw was 19. Sister had one, and it was 68 or 69 Toyota. And that's what we thought about Toyota, like a toy. This was a toy, you know. But it lasted a long time. And we drove them big Cadillacs and everything. It used up gas. It didn't last no time. After a while, you had to buy one every 2 years because it would break down. In 1970, they changed from 50,000 miles or 5 years warranty on the moving parts to 1 year and 12,000 miles. That's in 1970. What does that mean? They're making junk, planned obsolescence. And guess what? That old saying, so goes General Motors, so goes America. It's true. General Motors is gone, and so is America. And they've done it to themselves. Every war, every fitna they had, they did it to themselves. Everything happened to America. Nobody came and did it. We're going to do this to you because you big and strong. They said, boss man, I'm going to go the other way because I can't handle you right now. So he pulled out his own gun, just like we told him, Mr. Officer, would you pull out your gun? Yes. And now shoot yourself in the head. That's what psychological guerrilla warfare is. That's the way we did them. Would you please pull out your gun? Sure, I'll pull it out. Now put it up to your head and pull the trigger. Tell the truth. That's what's happened in U.S. policy. There ain't nothing we can do about it. It's done already happened. Humpty Dumpty said, you can't fix it. It's too big. It's done collapsed. That's a done deal. What we want to do is try to catch the world and fix it. Let me speed up. Tafweed and Rida. We put all of this in Allah's hands and we're happy with whatever we get. That's the way it is. Greatest trap in U.S. history. Da, 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 da. 3 great programs of resistance. Okay, we don't want to go overboard. But a few things, I'll just read the title of. They have survive, evade, and escape. But now it's survive, evade, and resist. Not escape, resist. That's the resistance movement. They used to hand out a book to all the pilots and everything. If anything happened, your plane crashed. It was like a Boy Scout manual. If you crash somewhere behind enemy lines, what do you have to do? In those days, it says survive, evade, and escape. And now it's survive, evade, and resist. That's the part we like, resistance. And it had how to make a tent out in the woods, how to take your parachute and what have you, get thread out of it, and how to fish. You know what I mean? That stuff was good. I used to travel with that book, and it used to help me when I would everywhere I was. They gave it to me when I was in Algeria. You know, survive, evade, and resist. That's what the longevity is. We have survived. We have evaded every trap. Y'all have seen just only 1 million traps, but there's been a zillion. We've evaded them. We've evaded cutie pies, money, everything. And think they can read you. I know. Anyway, it's too much. But you evade all the dumb stuff. And not because of yourself, but a lot of times because of the Islamic rules. See, evading women in Jahiliyyah is not part of the script. You don't evade them, you hook up with them and you do all that stuff. But when you come into Islam, you evade, because you're not married. And our old boss man, Baba Kloon, they use their own kids a lot of times as a trap. Had one of the nicest looking young ladies, just the kind you like to look at. And when they would come in, I'd have a big smile on my face. So they said, okay, we'll have her sit around. Da, da, da. They'd have put a sanitary napkin and throwing it out there to know that they're beyond up to menstrual stuff, but they throw it right by the door I go in. And I couldn't do nothing with anybody because it's against the rules. Right? And they misinterpret, and Ibn Kloon, them, all of them being on it. They misinterpret a big smile and friendliness with, hey, they're dummies. They're dummies. They don't realize that there are rules and you have to follow it. They think niggas don't follow the rules. That's their first problem. They think niggas don't follow the rules, especially with girls. Because girls are the biggest trap. Girls are the biggest trap for them. If I read in the Quran as girls is a big trap, and then I see in Jahiliyyah girls is a big trap, right? So girls is a big trap. So you avoid the trap. That's a trap. So let me stick my head in that trap. And they keep on doing it because they're stupid. They think everybody, like Abdul Malik them, thinks everybody is like them. They like girls and they don't avoid no girl trap. They jump right in it. Because, that's what they do. And then they think you going to jump in with them. Absolutely not. So sorry. Let me see. I have, as usual, not went off track, but anyway. Phantom resistance. Boy, look at here. I'm going to try to explain phantom, but I'll just be surface. Phantom, phantom with the opera, phantom that you can't see. Resistance that's there and it's happening, but you can't pick it up because your pea brain and your historical vision is taught to see certain things, and you can't see it. That's what happened. So phantom resistance, another mirage resistance. You know, like the guy out in the desert and he's there playing with the sand and trying to drink it because it's a mirage, right? Now think if you design a plan based on mirage resistance, what that fool is looking at and that fool is thinking he's looking at, you design a policy based on mirage resistance. It's almost free resistance because what he see don't exist. But he's sure that's what he sees. You could train the idiot. He's an idiot. I don't want to talk about people like they're not competent, but you ever see somebody when they're going down, they start beating their wife, beating their kid, they start going crazy, right? That's what boss man is doing. That's what boss man is doing right now. We have something to do with that. Yeah, you wanted to mess with us? Okay, go ahead. Here we are. I can't stick my feet up here, but I'm comfortable. Let's see you comfortable, boss man. You was talking all that talk. You like to mess with people. Keep on messing with me and see what happens. You think you got it bad now? Boss, I'm talking to boss man everywhere. Boss man, you keep messing with the brother and see what happens. We here, we've outlasted Denmark, VZ, all other people, and we're gonna look like we're gonna be here for a while. Look like the big boss wants us here. And you ain't the big boss. And you look like a fool. And all of the fools that are with you, they really look, I just don't want to say it. Before your own eyes. And they be looking at it. Okay, I'll speed up a little bit. The greatest, most comprehensive. Yes, a big struggle. Okay. Da-da-da-da. We'll put it in the flyer. Are there any questions or comments about anything we said? Because any questions, any comments?
They were disputing reports that they were giving out those like safety, those safe smoker kits, with crack pipes in them. So like they were putting crack pipes in the safe smoker kits to kind of get people off of smoking and stuff. And so the White House is coming out disputing that and stuff they do, you know.
Say that again. They was.
That's the news on Fox News 5 out in it's actually from the West Coast, San Diego. Saying that the White House disputes reports of federal funds for crack pipes. You know, this is the stuff you see in the news.
Right. Well, boss man bought the crack here, but look, boss man gonna be smoking the crack himself in a minute, because he can only stand so much. No, I'm talking about front boss man. The boss man sitting right there in a chair. He's gonna be smoking crack or shooting crank. That's where they're headed. Technically, they don't need to do that. They're messing up bad enough. They're acting like they own crack now.
So do we call America a failed state?
Yes, sir, 100%. But it's headed to a bigger failure. See, the people won't know it until it just, all the stuff happening now, it's a failed state. But it won't fail until fires are burning and cars are wrecking and, visibly everything is just falling apart in front of them. It is falling apart now. But to them, that's not a failed state yet. Okay. Any more comments? Okay. So everybody get ready for a new hero approach. We're gonna tell our story. That's what it is. We're gonna tell our story. We're gonna tell it to the people the way we have lived it. I mean, we're started already, but we're gonna really get into it. And that's the time we're living in. Okay, if there's no more questions and no more comments, then nakula kalehada wa astaghfirullah.